Welcome to Healthy Living. Today we're talking about how dogs are being used to help people with some very serious medical condition. It's amazing, and it's all in the new book, Dr. Dogs, How Our Best Friends Are Becoming Our Best Medicine. And joining me is Maria Goodavage, who wrote the book, and Danielle Brooks, who suffers from narcolepsy, and her dog, Rollo, so sweet. Maria and Rollo are featured in the book. Maria, Danielle, so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Maria, why did you write Dr. Dogs?
Well, I've been writing about military dogs and Secret Service dogs for my last several books, and those are dogs who save the lives of their people by day and by night, often by use of their noses and the incredible bonds they have. And so I started learning about dogs who help people with all kinds of maladies and even detecting things like cancer in research settings. And I thought, this is just such a next great step, because I want to tell the world about these amazing new cutting-edge jobs that these doctor dogs have that really follow the dog's natural tendencies.
Now, Danielle, you battle uncontrollable narcolepsy and other sleep disorders. You actually fall asleep out of the blue, and little wakes you up. So before Rollo, what was your life like?
So I have narcolepsy and cataplexy, and I also was recently diagnosed with POTS, and so that also has to do with like dizziness. So prior to Rollo, I was in I was in high school, and I couldn't stay awake in class. I was a year-round swimmer and very competitive swimmer, and I couldn't make it through my practices. And every time I'd get in the car, I'd be asleep, and so my life just kind of revolved around sleeping, and it was just a struggle to you know, to enjoy life and be able to like partake in what I wanted to do. So after getting a concussion in my driveway, after like laughing with friends from my cataplexy, which is loss of muscle tone during change in emotion, whether that's laughing or fear, which can be anything from facial drooping to complete paralysis. And so after getting a concussion, I decided I needed to do more, and I wanted to go off to college and be independent. So I looked, my dad's company like somehow got in touch with this organization, Canine Partners for Life, which is located in Pennsylvania. And they had never done a service dog for narcolepsy, for anyone with narcolepsy, but they have often do service dogs for people with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, seizures, migraines, cardiac alert. So they were open and willing to train a dog for me to help me reduce fatigue by pulling along in his harness, possibly alert. He doesn't alert to cataplexy because it's brought on by emotion, but he alerts before my dizzy spells and sleep attacks, and as well as any headaches. So with that, I've been able to go to the University of Georgia and graduate. I have been able to not worry about the what if in life. Like, what if I fall asleep on the bus and miss my stop? Good. What if I, fall in public and, get hurt, or people think that I'm intoxicated or something, when that's not the case at all. It's just due to my medical condition that I would do that fall. But since I've had Rollo, I've only had 2 to 3 falls, and I've had him for over 5 years. But before that, I would have anywhere between like 1 to 2 complete falls a month.
So you would literally fall asleep while you were standing up?
Cataplexy is not falling asleep. So cataplexy, I'm fully conscious. I just can't see, and my body feels like it's like tingling, and any like touch or makes it worse. So that's not falling asleep, it's just like complete paralysis. So the falling asleep aspect is due to the people with narcolepsy don't get deep restful sleep. So we dream the whole night, and like it's very exhausting on your body. So I kind of compare it to, imagine staying awake for 48 hours and then wake up feeling that way, feeling that exhaustion, the brain fog, fatigue, just struggling to get out of bed. So with Rollo, he's able to wake me up to my alarms. He's able to wake me up to my alarms from a medication that I have to take, like at 11 and at 3 in the morning. And so with that, like, I was able to move out and live on my own in college, and now I'm in graduate school at Georgia State University and pursuing a degree in speech therapy. So he's just completely given me so much independence.
And so he sleeps with you and wakes you up when you need to take your medicine.
Yes.
And what else does he do to help you?
So he pulls me along to reduce fatigue. So I kind of compare that to imagine being on really sturdy rollerblades and just being pulled along nicely. So I'm able to have more energy throughout the day and, you know, be able to say yes to things and say yes to, oh, I want to go to that football game, or I'm going to go on a walk at the park, He also has gotten me out and about and doing things, and in the service dog community as well. So he's also picks things up for me.
So you actually had to go through a training period of about 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
Where you and Rollo sort of bonded and got your groove together.
Yeah, so for this organization, Canine Partners for Life, they matched based on personality and lifestyle. So they need a dog that would alert and a dog that was energetic yet kind of would be relaxed at the same time. And so with that, like after you get matched, then you go up for 3 weeks of training. You learn how to, take them on an airplane, what to say when someone says, no, you can't have that dog, even though they're allowed everywhere according to the ADA, except for like certain places in the hospital. So yes, we went through 3 weeks of training and had field trips to the zoo and field trips to Philadelphia. That was like our big last one. So they really prepare you well to go out in the world and be successful as a team and as a partnership.
How does he fit into grad school?
So we have long classes, so he sleeps through them all and he makes sure I take my nap during the day, and I came from undergrad and went straight into grad school, so he's used to like the study life, but our new apartment has a dog park in the back, so he's really enjoyed that.
Well, he's just so sweet, and you're so confident and relaxed. I'm sure he's made all the difference in the world. It must have been terrifying having narcolepsy.
Well, it's not terrifying. It's more along the lines of, so I got this diagnosis as a freshman in high school, and it's not now, for me, it was like this disorder doesn't define me, but it's just a part of my life. And I've had to learn to find a new normal, and, before Rollo, I'd push my limits, and then I would know that was, I needed something more to be able to want to go do all the things I wanted to do. So one of my favorite memories and something I'm really proud of is that I was able to study abroad in England and Scotland with Rollo. And we went on like 11-mile hikes and went all throughout the national parks and everything. And I just wouldn't have been able to do it without him and his not only alerting capability, but also just reducing fatigue throughout that whole trip, and I was really able to enjoy it instead of having to worry about, when's my next nap, or if I eat now, then I'm going to need a nap in 30 minutes. But he keeps me in line, so I'm able to just be present and really enjoy every situation.
Wonderful. Well, we're so happy for you.
Thank you.
Rollo, I'm happy to say, is not alone. When we come back, we'll show you other ways dogs are helping people with different medical conditions, so stay tuned.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a better gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
We're back with Danielle Brooks, who lives with narcolepsy, and her sweet dog, Rollo, and Maria Goodavage, author of the new book, Dr. Dogs, How Our Best Friends Are Becoming Our Best Medicine. And Maria, you feature so many people with different medical conditions in your book who are helped by these dogs, such as Clay Ronk and his diabetic alert dog, Whitley. Clay has type 1 diabetes, right?
Yes, and they learned about it during a terrible emergency when he was 7 years old. He had to be rushed, airlifted to San Francisco hospital, where they saved his life. And he tried for years to get one of these dogs who can alert to high or low blood sugars. And when he was 14, he was paired with Whitley, who is truly a lifesaver. She is so good about staring at him, and she has something called a brinzel, which she can pick up. It's hanging off of her, like a tube hanging off of her collar. And when she smells a low blood sugar, she'll sit and stare and just make sure he knows, and he'll test. And she's inevitably 15 or 20 minutes before his devices, before his monitors. Yeah,
wow.
It's incredible. And she actually can awake from a deep sleep to tell him that he's going into a low. So she's a lifesaver. And she also goes to college with him.
Oh, wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful. Well, you also talk in your book about Dr. Dogs who help people who are prone to having seizures.
Yes, yeah, that's another one of the wonderful things they do. They give people back their lives because people do not know when they're going to have a seizure. And so the dogs are now being trained to sniff before they can tell the scent of someone before they have a seizure. There are probably other signals that they're using, but now they're training them on scent for the most part, and they can also tell them, here, you're going to have a seizure, and so they won't shower, or they'll sit down if they're outside, they'll take their medication, and then, like Danielle's dog, they're with them while they're seizing, they're trained what to do. Some call 911 or the nearest relative, and they're just best friends in these situations.
We have a picture of Leslie Fong and her seizure alert dog named Bud.
Yes.
And these two are good buddies.
This is just after one of her tonic-clonic seizures. Those are grand mal seizures. And he's there, he cuddles up with her. He actually goes underneath her, he sidles up to her so she doesn't get damaged when she's going through one of these seizures, and then he's there with her for the stage after the seizures. He's her best friend. I just saw her the other day, and they're doing great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
What's really cool about the seizure alert dogs is that's like an innate ability. So once they figure out that dog can alert, then they go in and can keep on working and training that skill.
Some dogs can get it, and some dogs don't. And a lot of the times the dogs self-train, and the people realize, wait, my dog is getting anxious, and then 10 minutes later I have a seizure. So those people can learn to read their own dog, and it's really a life-saving mission.
Fascinating. And we know that some dogs can even detect cancer, which is mind-boggling. A lot of people can't believe that dogs are able to do that. But you talk about a Japanese community that has a very high rate of stomach cancer, and they're using Dr. Dogs there.
Yeah, and that's actually that's the first screening study. Most of the work in cancer is being done in research centers. Now, get it out of the way. These are not beagles locked away in cages. These are happy dogs. They're usually pets who come in for the day, and they're really trained, and they can detect cancer around a cancer wheel. And in Japan, they have a very high stomach rate of cancer in this gorgeous community. And you would never think, oh, such a high stomach rate. But they're not looking at why the stomach rate is so high, but at how they can do detection rapidly, non-invasively. And this Dr. Miyashita is a doctor in Tokyo who specializes in stomach cancer, and he was able to work with the community and using urine samples do a detection on about 1,000 people in the community. And this is the first one in a real town. Everything else has been laboratory. And it's hard because you can't reward the dog if you don't know if it's cancer or not. So there were some stumblings there, but they did a really good job, and they're continuing with this.
So you talk about psychiatric service dogs, mental health, and we have a picture here of Angus who's helping Kit Heiser. What's that situation like? She's in a mall.
I was
she has
with
anxiety,
them. I took
right?
this picture. Yes, she has very significant anxiety, and they were in a mall, and she started getting kind of anxious and nervous, and she just asked him exit. And he knew where the exit was, and he was able to get her to the exit. This can happen in concerts, and he also leans into her and does all the things that dogs can do to lessen the anxiety that people have, but in a very direct way that's really helpful to her. They have a lot of skills around these, and this is very common with dogs trained for PTSD as well.
So people with these types of disorders can go out in public, because a lot of times people with PTSD and severe anxiety, they don't like to be out in wide open spaces where there are a lot of people.
Right, the dogs give them back their world.
And speaking of psychiatric disorders, this is a very serious mental illness. We have a picture here of Molly, who was actually cutting herself and hallucinating because of her mental illness, and her dog Hank helps her. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, her dog was her pet dog, and one time she was hospitalized. She had tried to take her life because she has both auditory and visual hallucinations, and they're always telling her really bad things. And so, for years. And so when she was hospitalized, the parents thought, we need to get her a dog. Hey, let's see if we can get Hank trained. And so Hank is able to prevent her from cutting. When she starts doing that motion, he'll do this, and she'll say, oh gosh, no. But the biggest thing for her is that just by virtue of being a dog, he's a friendly lab, like this guy. He will greet anybody, anyone, really in a friendly manner. So she realizes if he doesn't see if he's not greeting someone, then these horrible people are not real. So he helps her just separate reality from these terrible hallucinations just because he's a dog.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot more to talk about. Coming up, we'll tell you what goes into training these doctor dogs. Stay with us.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
Welcome back. So when it comes to training, it's all about the smell. Maria, tell us how these dogs are trained. I think we have a little bit of video from some training at Georgia Tech, and this dog has a device on it that says to people, my owner needs help.
Yeah, that's a beta device. It's in the works right now, and that will be something that dogs can wear. Eventually, those things will be able to say, you're going to go into a diabetic low or high, or you're going to have a seizure, or there are many, many potential uses for those vests. Wearable technology is definitely coming up.
So the dog actually alerts a recording where you can hear an audible voice.
Exactly. So it's as if the dog is talking to you and saying, the one that says now is, excuse me, my owner needs your help, please follow me. And they found they have to say that twice, because the first time people just go, what?
Is this a talking dog?
So, but that's not really the that's the thing of the future. There are many future uses of what they're doing now. For instance, for the cancer research, which is going on all over the world, it's really exciting. They're finding that dogs can find cancer at early stages for cancers that are really hard to normally detect at an early stage. So that's really exciting, but they're not going to have dogs in your doctor's laboratory, because dogs are only human, and they have their off days, and there are better things ahead. Dogs are this beautiful link to a future which a lot of scientists and researchers envision having these e-noses, electronic noses, that will be able to really easily detect cancer based on what the dogs are smelling. There are physicists and chemists working to find out the scent of cancer, and eventually, not in the distant future, maybe you'll be able to go breathe into a tube and find if you have any type of cancer. And it's a very hopeful future based on our best friend's work right now.
And so many cancers, there are no early detection devices, and so you often don't know that you have it until it's in its advanced
We have one
state.
of those in our family, so I'm really rooting for them. The dogs at University of Pennsylvania are working on detecting ovarian cancer, and they're doing it at stage 1, so it's really hopeful.
Wonderful. And you go into the detail about that in your book, Dr. Dogs. It's a wonderful read. And talk about, we have video of this little dog in a tutu who is being trained for a Parkinson's disease.
Yes. This is Suga. Suga is a diva, and she's really good at detecting Parkinson's disease on an island in Washington State. See, she's divaing the door open. She goes around, and she will find the T-shirt that has Parkinson's there. Is that it? Yep, that's it. Good girl. So she's one of many dogs in Washington State who are detecting Parkinson's. The idea, again, is to be able to find the earliest detection so that people can start getting treated early. And the dogs are helping lead the way to that as well.
Early detection is so important.
It is.
And another thing that we've been hearing about so much in the news lately are superbugs, these drug-resistant bacteria that often are in hospitals. And I believe we have video of a dog sniffing out a superbug in a hospital of all places.
Yes, this is up in Vancouver. This is Angus, and he's sniffing out C. diff, Clostridium difficile, which is very easily spread among a lot of populations who are in hospitals. And so he stops it in his tracks, and he's going to, if you get to the point, he will alert here, and they will come in with all kinds of high-tech stuff and eliminate what he has smelled. And it's helped enormously, to the point where they're getting many more dogs doing this in these Vancouver hospitals. Here he is. That's his little alert. He's going to, in a minute, sit and tell her, yeah, this is really it. And so they clean up. And part of this is the hospital staff is even more wise and more clean, because he's there inspecting everything as well.
Right. You can't see those awful killer bacteria, but the dogs like these, they can smell them.
Yeah, it's really exciting work.
This is fascinating, and we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to tell you how you can get a dog like Rollo, so stay with us.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
And we're back, and the moment you've all been waiting for. Danielle, so many people would love a dog like Rollo and need a dog like Rollo. How did you get him?
So I did a lot of research and searched a lot online to find like organizations that were really well known, as well as I reached out to people who've gotten dogs from those organizations to see if the dogs were well trained, how the training went when you received the dog, if you got support afterwards after receiving your dog. So I did a lot of research on the internet, and then also just reaching out to people who have received dogs from this organization. And you can often contact organizations and be like, is there anyone who you could get me in contact with to share their experience with? But the biggest thing is you just want to be careful with who you're going to, and make sure you do your research so that you don't get a dog that's not trained, because these dogs take a long time to train, and you want to be able to take them in public and for them to be good ambassadors for service dogs and not be barking or be crazy, or, you know, because not all dogs are meant to be service dogs. So there are, it's a weed out system for when they are training them.
He definitely makes it look easy. Maria, you write about so many different doctor dogs, so many different types. What's your advice to people who would like one?
Danielle's advice was spot on. And really, really do your homework, because there are a lot of really good organizations out there that produce very good dogs. There are some well-meaning ones that don't produce such good dogs, and then there are actually organizations that rip people off. Oh. And you have to be so careful. As Danielle said, contact people who have had dogs through them, more than one person, see what their follow-up is. Just be extremely careful. There are many ways to train many different types of dogs, so just, yeah, homework is so essential. You don't want to end up with a 20,000 dog who barks everywhere, and it doesn't, like for diabetes, I've heard about these dogs who just, they don't do their job.
So some organizations don't require you to pay or require you to do a small fundraiser. So a lot of times people ask how much it costs. So that's one thing that certain organizations will ask you to provide a little bit, but at the same time, like you're not always turned away if you're not financially able to raise that a little bit of money. But definitely, like she said, do your homework.
Yeah, and some are free, but you have to go through very extensive programs and wait sometimes years.
So, all right. Yeah. Well, once again, the book is fantastic. Dr. Dogs, How Our Best Friends Are Becoming Our Best Medicine. Well said. And my thanks to both of you, Maria Goodavage, the author of the book, and Danielle Brooks, as well as Rollo. Thank you to you for joining in today to Healthy Living, and we'll see you again next time.